So the first film today is Mr. Turner.
Yes. So,
Go ahead.
Mr. Turner, Mike Leigh's new film, and basically does what it says in the tin. The story is the last 25 years of the painter J.M.W. Turner, and he is played by, as always, good to see, Timothy Spall, and he is played absolutely brilliantly by him. I mean, Timothy Spall has been in, obviously, some of the Mike Leigh films. I mean, there's only three I can think of, Secrets and Lies.
And obviously, Auf Wiedersehen, Pet.
Well, there's that, but that's not a Mike Leigh film.
Probably I know, but that's probably his most famous ever thing he's been in.
Well, yeah.
Timothy Spall.
I mean, that's when was that how he got his start? I'm sure.
Yeah, that was definitely, I think that was Jimmy Neal's breakthrough as well.
Yeah, it was.
That was such a big career move for everybody.
So yeah, Secrets and Lies, All or Nothing, and Life is Sweet, and he might be in some others, but that's all I can think of. But yeah, he is absolutely brilliant in this film. I mean, he does the personality of Turner. He gets it absolutely perfect. I mean, he does the grunts, the way he walks and everything. He's very hunched over, and like he has like a certain presence in certain scenes, and he's absolutely perfect. And as well as that, you learn that I'm sure that he learned how to paint like for 2 years to prepare him for this role. Yeah, he really went for it, and I think it's like kind of a career defining role for him, because this is the best thing I've probably seen him in. And not just him though, because throughout the full film, actor-wise, everybody's fantastic. You know, it gets the Victorian setting and the kind of Charles Dickens kind of dialogue absolutely perfect. But back to the film itself, yeah, the narrative-wise, it doesn't really tell kind of a straightforward story, like, you know, like previously with biopics like The Imitation Game. That was just kind of, you know, forward, like straight off. But this is 25 years of his life, and the only progression you can kind of see is him getting slightly older. But other than that, obviously it's really episodic. Like it doesn't. It's just kind of, here's a place, here's another place, going from place to place. But in between all these scenes is just these absolutely stunning images of just basically Turner walking around. You know, like in sunsets, sunrises, natural places of absolute beauty. And you know, it really does give the sense of perhaps like the harmony that Turner would have got when he was walking around, like preparing for these paintings, looking around. And yeah, some of the images, like they do, like some of the interviews you hear the producers and stuff saying like some of the images look like paintings, which they do. And it was kind of reminiscent of Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon as well. And it was just like the image wise, like absolutely stunning.
Good eye to detail. Yeah.
Scenes of awe in the cinema, like. Not in the same way of Interstellar, like big.
Very different.
Just very, just stunning. But with the normal scenes themselves, like other than these scenes and some little tiny scenes of Turner painting, like it's a big juxtaposition from these scenes of beauty when you see himself. Like I said before, he grunts. He's like he even refers to himself in one of the scenes as when he looks in the mirror, a gargoyle. He's some scenes you can see him as a good person, but others you can see him as very flawed, very, you know, human character, besides these beautiful paintings he creates. And one particular scene, which is this had us kind of a bit of a discussion, where he kind of in a way takes sexual advantage of his maid.
And it's rape.
Yeah, well, it's not, I wouldn't say rape. It's
she was getting about her business and he comes up from behind and takes her.
I know, but well,
that is rape.
It's questionable. It's very questionable. I would.
Well, if it stirs debate, it's a good thing.
Yeah, more sexual advantage. I mean, not just that either. There are some other scenes where like he's very.
It makes him a morally questionable character.
Yeah,
and that's good.
Certain sexual scenes, which is also strange as well because of the 12A rating. Like it does get away with a lot. Not just that.
It's not a 12A. It's a 15.
It's a 12A.
Are you right? I thought it was. Wow.
That's why it was surprising, because it does get away with a lot.
I thought it was a 15.
I mean that and some. Not really nudity, but like on the verge, I guess.
Yeah.
But that and the sexual innuendos as well, there was a lot of them used. But other than that kind of just gives it a kind of sense of comedy as well, because there were some very funny scenes in it with the Dickens Victorian like language as they're talking about art and other stuff, and it's just I love it so much, dialogue wise and everything. And it's got a couple of other weird scenes as well that kind of show progression with. You know, obviously it was coming from the Victorian era. When was like 1830s, something like that?
1830s to 1880s, I think. That's about the right time. that kind of period, you know.
And it does kind of show scenes of the modern world, you know, with the scene when the natural philosopher, the female, comes in with like to his place where he paints,
Yeah.
and just talking about light and the manipulation of light and all that kind of stuff. And then there's some of the very first cameras taking photos, and then there's this beautiful scene of you know, when they're on the boat, and it shows what's it called, the Fighting Temporary, where he gets the inspiration for that, and it showed perfectly just like a painting as well, and you get it. It looks absolutely stunning, and obviously it's inspiration for one of Turner's biggest paintings. So I mean, these are just a few things in the story, because I can't wait to see it again, because it seems like a film that's absolutely filled with things that I might have missed, and overall one of the most interesting films I think Lee's ever made, other than, you know, his kind of realistic kind of films, and this might be up there with the likes of Secrets and Lies and Naked for me, for Mike Leigh's films, because I absolutely loved it. I was enthralled all the way through, even though it's on for 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
It didn't feel like that, really.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it kind of felt like Barry Lyndon in the sense of, as well, like once you're in that kind of world, even if it might be a bit hard to get into, you kind of like, what, it's finished, like, you know. So overall, I think I will give this about a 9 out of 10.
9?
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, very, very good film, I thought.
For me, I mean, Timothy Spaulding gets the mannerisms perfect, I thought. Like,
Yeah.
he's such a likeable yet pitiable character.
Yeah.
And it's just really good to see him, the way he goes through life, that people are sort of, there's some characters, like side characters, that you only see a little bit, they're just talking, and like, I know it's not a Victorian cliche, that's probably how they actually spoke. And then he just replies to them with a, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he does show a lot of emotions through the grunts and everything.
He seems very aware, and I thought the juxtaposition with his very old kind of fashion style with the newer technology coming in, because obviously this was the forefront of the revolution age, you know, the industrial era, with all the technology, the railways coming in, you know, and obviously that's that scene with the camera when he's very, you know, he's very
the camera,
worried about it. The camera.
Camera.
You know, to show him that kind of, it makes him, you know, it layers his character. I thought it's obviously a lot of detail been put into this, you know, a lot of love put into it to make it look down to the T like it would have. And yeah, I mean, it's a very special
film. Even painting wise as well, you know, where it shows like later in his life when, you know, the woman, like it's in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler, when the woman's saying about how he's getting rid of form altogether and stuff like that, which indicate obviously early expressionism in art, which, because Monet, however you see his film, is very inspired by Turner's artwork.
What I also think is that a lot of biopics, like in the past, have like really, they've sort of sugar-coated, is that the right kind of, like sugar-coated their subject to the point where they say, oh look, this is a all-knowing, you know, we should respect that person completely. It shows that Turner had flaws, which he did. You know, I don't really know much. I know his paintings, I know some of his paintings, I know who he was, but I'm not really clued in about him, but I do know that he was a flawed character, and that's what they brought, you know.
Yeah.
They made him seem like a real person, rather than just this painter, you know, this locked in person. And that's what I thought was respectable about it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll
thoughts
say that Dorothy Atkinson, who plays the maid,
Yeah.
it was a perfectly understated, just you know, a great performance. Not much
She must
in the
have
way
had
of,
about a page of dialogue.
not much in the way of dialogue.
Yeah.
It was really just the expressions and the body, just the way she.
Because that obviously comes back to the sex scene, because he has with her, and it's like, because she's obviously in love with him, but like, I wouldn't say rape, just taking sexual advantage, because I won't spoil why he does it. He just does it for his own, you know, his own thing, not for her. Yeah. Not because of that love for her. He just does it for himself.
Frustration.
Really. Yeah.
I mean, critically, why? I mean, critics seem to love it, but audience-wise, it seems to have divided people. A lot of complaints that it's boring and overlong.
A lot of audience complaints are saying things like that it had no story, that it had nothing.
Well,
but the story is his life.
Well, that's the point.
That is the point. There's no need to kind of put him in a cape or, you know. That's just what happened, and it tells a beautiful story about his island.
But the thing is, what would you say? You told me about this. The box office takings for Mr. Turner.
In its first week, it was number 7, and in its second week, it was second behind Interstellar.
But do you have the numbers?
It cost about $2 million, and it's made back about $2 million.
But what I'm saying is, like, what the point is here. Is there a place? Obviously, there will always be this kind of, but. Is there a place in kind of the bigger chains of cinemas for more patient films like this? You know,
well,
like really patient, looks at people's lives, you know,
Yeah.
like
So
introverted.
I should say it cost $8 million,
Mhm.
and it's only made 2 back. So,
That increases the point, doesn't it?
yeah, I mean, the money thing's probably because, I mean, at our local, cinema, like
Mm-hmm.
Empire Cinema, big chain, this is its 3rd week of release, and it's only just come here. So, I mean, it's just spreading slowly.
And
as
tying
cinemas
into that,
pick and choose what they want.
the fact that the news this week that Odeon are adding £1 to their blockbuster releases,
Mm-hmm.
like Interstellar and The Hobbit, and the fact that these films will remain cheaper, maybe if they were obviously they have to make their money back, but having these as an option, obviously they can't be marketed. So
well, the good thing is films
marketed more than bigger films.
There's always room for the blockbusters, but there'll always be people for films like this.
Yeah.
So I mean, it probably won't make
I know,
its
but
full money back.
it
but
breaks my heart when something that's obviously had this much passion put into it has made 2 million,
yeah,
which
Well,
is
it's just British films get a British
know.
film tag, don't they?
yeah.
And it's always going to be that way.
Yeah.
I mean, when Pride, I'll go back to Pride. When I saw the trailer for Pride, I was like, oh god, here's another British
Same,
film.
yeah.
But I mean, it was extraordinary,
Yeah.
and it's the same here.
well,
Again,
yeah,
you didn't think much of the trailer, did you?
no,
You-
I didn't think much of it all. But
you didn't know what to expect in terms
Yeah.
of why everyone was raving about it.
Mhm.
But now you get it.
of course, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously. I mean, but that's the thing is, I think as long as people who've done it are enjoying themselves and they can look back and say, yeah, I did that, I'm proud of it.
Hmm.
All good.
But I think it's been. Well, I mean, it'll probably get BAFTAs.
Probably.
it'll-
Timothy Spall needs to get something for that performance.
It'll
I
be
think.
highly recognised amongst British films, but I mean, certainly it should be held in
Well,
regard
Timothy
for.
Spall's becoming a bit of a national treasure, isn't he? He's
Well,
not quite there yet, but
He's just racking up performance after
Yeah, no,
performance, and but I mean, it should be in consideration for awards worldwide as well. I mean, a lot of people have said best actor at the Oscars should be a contender. I mean,
I'd say he's a contender, but I wouldn't say the
Mhm.
winners from what I've seen.
but it's just beautiful. It's
Uh-huh.
just grunts and very little dialogue. But it was
He's
it
got
was
he's
phenomenal.
got great sort of like I've forgotten the word here. He's got great sort of range. Obviously,
range.
he's he can do a lot of different characters. I mean, he did The Wind of the Willows a few years ago. He obviously did Auf Wiedersehen Pet. He was in Red Dwarf,
Harry Potter,
Harry Potter,
and
millions of things. we've
Damned
forgotten.
United. We
Damned
played
United
Peter
as well.
Taylor, yeah.
Many different characters, which is obviously a factor of him getting lots of work. So yeah, I think I'd give this an 8.
8.
out of 10.
What did I give it? 8.5. I think I gave it.
Alright.
But
Mm.
it's high on my list. Yeah. But yeah, we're all me and Ryan were surprised. Joe, I mean, you obviously knew you were gonna love it.
Yeah.
Mike Leigh fan. But I'm definitely gonna go watch more Mike Leigh stuff. Get
Mhm.
caught up.
Yeah, you need to see him in Life is Sweet. He's funny as hell in Life is Sweet.